It's time for our traditional look back and look forward with Thomas Grassel. Hi, I'm Ian Thane. Welcome to probably the last Code Talk of 2019, the last Code Talk of a decade. I'm really pleased to have Thomas with me. Thomas, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Ian, and glad to be back.
So just in case there's anybody that's been living in a cave somewhere and doesn't know who Thomas Grassel is, you are Vice President of Global Developer Relations and Community Relations as well. And as I said, this is our reflective view. So I think we've done this for the last couple of years, Thomas, where we, as I say, we have a reflective look back into 2019. And I just sort of like probe you a little bit for what you think is going to happen in 2020. So let's have a think about 2019. Whenever I always think back at these, the year we're just leaving, I always think of probably one of the biggest things for us as a team, which is events. And let's not lose sight of probably the biggest event that we have been and done, TechEd.
Yeah, so TechEd is big, and for the folks who have been at TechEd this year, you probably saw that we tried a few new things. Like we got a few new things in, mostly around the community, because that was a program which came into the same organization in 2018. So it's already almost 2 years ago. And so for 2019, we had the first time to really then also look into how do we embrace this more, the community aspects with the call for papers. So that was really successful and brought in new topics from the community. And that was definitely a new wave how we set now like for TechEd. Also like to look into how do we engage more with the audience at TechEd. Because that's for us one thing, and this comes more from the community side, that we do a lot on the platform in community.sap.com, but there is a broad community everywhere. It's the SAP Insight tracks which are happening around the globe. I don't have the number in front of me, but I think it's way above 50 or 60, 70. I don't know where we ended up this year. It's also like the Stammtisch, which is driven by the community. And just to clarify it, it's not that we SAP go out and say like, oh, you guys should do a Stammtisch. The amazing part is that members in the community say like, oh, I want to connect with other folks. Let's see what's going on. Let's chat. Let's just like know who else is like playing in this field. And let's meet. And initially like maybe do a Stammtisch, meet for a few hours, or really exchange a lot of information in a day, and that's like in the Insight tracks. And so we see this also like then feeding into like TechEd, where we want to give the chance also for these folks and for the community to come together. So this is the community talks then. But it also was great to have like the champions there, which is also a new program in 2019. So a lot of things happened, and I wrote an internal wrap-up email yesterday. Now Ian is smiling because he got it already.
Right,
and it's always amazing if you look back and you forget too fast like how much things have been accomplished and done in a year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going back to TechEd, I found obviously this year's TechEd in our 3 locations, we were a lot bigger. We were a lot more prominent. And I think what was great for me is that we embraced some of the non-conference, the unconference side as well. So a lot of people were really sort of quite really favorable comments on how, we come along, they could talk about other stuff, they got people together. So if they had, a real pet project or a real interest they wanted to share, they could put that out there and speak to people.
Yeah, and it's definitely something we want to take even further in 2020. Now you ask me, like, okay, what's coming in 2020? So TechEd is a big program. It's also great that we from Developer Relation and Community are in the center of TechEd in the program. So working with the different board areas to craft this currently up. So it's a very interesting time where we look into like what is working, where can we improve, looking a lot at feedback. A lot of people ask us like, okay, can you do something here? Can you do something there? And that's the stuff what we want to do is like we want to get the best conference out there for everybody in the field in SAP, or even like if you're not yet like that deeply in, you should have a good chance for us to connect with us or connect with the topics, with the experts to know how to apply the technology.
We had a great program this year, Thomas, where and in each 3 locations we had the winners come along and thank us, where you know, we would put in tutorial competitions and other ways of getting new folks to come along to Tech Ed, and we had some great positive comments where people came along and said, you know, thank you so much, I've won this chance to come to Tech Ed, and this is my first ever one, and I'm blown away. That was a fantastic thing to have.
Yeah, and it's also we see a lot of new folks coming to TechEd. That's also interesting. So it's not the same customer. So there's a lot of like folks are like checking out or coming back, and that's great to see. And yeah, we do have a few surprises in there in our plans for next year. But positive surprises, of course, where we want to make it even easier, that you can consume the content, that you can even participate easier at TechEd. So stay tuned for some updates.
Excellent. So right, so we'll get away from events now, and we'll go to sort of like the digital and the website. I know when we spoke last year, at the end of 2018, you said, you know, we're sort of really listening to folks and driving that forward. Have you got any update on that you can share with the CodeTalk audience?
Yeah, so for the website is like still the biggest channels for us. And if I look at community.sap.com or developers.sap.com, that's where you see already also how we are looking between these 2 things, like how do we find synergies. So this is, you see now, for example, the tutorials are popping up in the community. Wanted to use the tooling or around the tutorials, which explain you step by step to get to a task, like also to the community task. So that's where you can learn how to blog, how to do the Q&A, etc. Sorry, I need to cough.
That's okay. And Thomas has got this fantastic webcam where he can mute himself at the same time. So,
okay. So that's unfortunately end of the year. You get like normally then the code and things going.
We travel too much, Thomas. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's it. Now, so that's exactly where we're looking into, and was a great acceptance. A lot of folks got deeper into the community, and yeah, it's great to see.
We mentioned tutorials. I'll sort of quickly go back to the Tech Ed side. You know, the Tech Ed tutorial numbers were fantastic. That is water, I'm hoping, and not something stronger.
It is water, and I have this bug where I started to cough all the time, and then it's hard to shake it.
That's okay.
So tutorial numbers. So yeah, like tradition, we also bring this to TechEd. Even made more tutorials. I think we almost hit 20,000 overall the 3 tickets. And there's also like a lot of like things in there where we fine-tuned it. So make it easier, not only for us, but also like from a learning aspect. That's where we also, and this is stuff you don't see immediately behind it. Like there's new tutorials coming out, but then this goes back to a lot of the experts on the product side, the advocates. They're tuning these things all the time, because like also we get the feedback, and that's first like also like a big thanks to everybody out there. So if they see some issues, or I saw it like last night, Marius put out a new tutorial around web components. Someone jumped on Twitter and said, "Oh, like here, like you can improve it." That's the stuff which helps us a lot. So please keep doing this, and makes it better for everybody. And yeah, it's a great concept. There's over 200,000 views on our tutorials per month right now. So this is a big number. It's growing year over year dramatically.
And you were saying last year, in the last year's reflection, that one of the plans for this year was to actually to improve the developer site, so that when you went in, and it would actually know what sort of tutorials you've done in the past to suggest, and that's actually become part and parcel of developers.sap.com already.
Yeah, it's already there. So you see the direction. We want to make it like the environment for the developers. So it's still like completely advertising pitch-free zone. That's what I'm always advocating to the teams, and it's also crafted content. So it's not something which we just take and copy it in. Like, so the team is really looking, and this is something also where we are currently working on at the next level, like to better explain, give you more showcases around what you can build with these things. So there's a lot of great works again behind the scenes happening, and you should see it in 2020.
Excellent. So 2020. So I know we don't talk about futures, and I know you can't give too much away, but there's anything about anything you can share with the audience with regard to the vision, the direction in 2020 that will see us take? Developer relations and community.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of stuff in the works. So like basically, what we see is like we are on the right items to tackle, and like that's the thing. Like we see the numbers behind the scenes, how things are improving. Like you tell us, like it's not just and it's basically by where you click and how often you click and how often you come back, and that's the stuff we are constantly improving. And that's exactly the thing. So on the community, you were like very good like in providing all the feedback. So this is areas where we are tackling around the search. This is something filtering, getting the topic pages more prominently, make it easier to navigate to these topic pages. That's something like a big focus on the community for next year. And on the developer side, improve on the tutorials, like on the content side. So we are recruiting a lot of like product teams, and don't even need to recruit them. They basically knock on our door, and it's like, this is great. We want to get more content in from our side into the tutorials. We promise we will maintain it, because that's something we also want to make sure that the stuff we put out there really works. So there's more planned, and I mentioned the content. So like going deeper on the product pages, explaining more with details. And yeah, like we want to get out more products. So right now we have a good base on all the core products and technologies in the developer center. So also planning to expand this one with other product teams. So there's a lot of like good thing coming. And I think the most important one is that's what a lot of you developers ask us, is like, please provide us more guidance. And that's what we took like really by heart. Be very clear, like this is the direction, this is where you should invest. That's why we also like sometimes we get these comments like, why is this no longer there? And it's like, well, it won't be the long-term direction for us on the technology. So that's why we're not showing you how to embrace this, but we're giving you the real details where you should go. And that's what the advocates would do very good. And you see this also in the code jams. And that's why we're pushing the topics which are new, and you should be interested and get started on this, versus like going back and it's like doing like deep dive learnings on certain things, because there's plenty of other materials already available. And we can point you to these ones for your backup.
Excellent. Well, Thomas, fantastic reflection on 2019, and looking forward to the new decade. That sounds really weird. I don't know about you, Thomas, but growing up, 2020 was something you'd see in a science fiction movie.
Yeah, no, I cannot believe it. 2020. Yeah, it's a good number, and I still remember the Y2K
Oh, so do I.
times. That was the last big number I remember, and 2020 seems to be the next big step. And yeah, so I'm looking forward. Looking forward to also more code talks and in 2020. So thank you also, Ian, for driving these, and thanks for everybody out there watching these, and let us know also where you want to see more.
Excellent. Well, audience, CodeTalk audience and community members and everybody we interact with daily, thank you so much for 2019. We wish you happy holidays from developer relations and community, and we'll really look forward to interacting with you in 2020.